Who? Xbox and Ubisoft, man. And Microsoft. I didn't think I'd have to talk about this anytime soon. I've actually went away from talking about acquisitions when it comes to the Microsoft brand, the Xbox brand, because I personally feel like right now I don't really want them to be focusing on anything related to purchasing at all. But this has been a really big conversation, and I feel like we got to talk about it. We got to talk about Ubisoft potentially being bought by Microsoft. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict Chat coming at you with another video. Today when we talk about acquisitions, yes, I know. We haven't talked about acquisitions on this channel in a while. We used to talk about if they should buy Sega, if they should buy Warner Brothers. There was a variety of companies that we would talk about on the daily. Should they buy? Do I really have an issue with those kind of videos? No. I think it's nice little, little conversations. That's how I've always looked at them. If I ever thought they should buy those studios, to this day, I would have preferred Sega over Activision, Blizzard, and King. I know a lot of people probably disagree on that. Look, man, I love me some Japanese-orientated studios, publishers, and to me, I feel like Microsoft needs to invest more into that type of market. But anyway, back to the Ubisoft thing. There's no secret that Ubisoft has been in a weird place. They're not doing the greatest in terms of their sales of their games. They're making bad business choices. Apparently, they are meeting with people and not necessarily talking with their investors and their shareholders about selling. And Microsoft's one of the companies that they're rumored to be talking to. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be transparent with you. I don't think this is going to happen. I think we've seen this a lot. We've seen the company when it comes to, Warframe. We've seen them up for sale. We've seen Warner Brothers multiple times up for sale. It's to the point where Warner Brothers look like they ain't just as bad as a position as Ubisoft, maybe even worse. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It just means conversation. Microsoft would be the one of the people looking at this because of their multi-platform approach, they could theoretically get this past regulators because they're not going to make any of these games exclusive. It's going to be mainly a Game Pass push, mainly a doubling down and consolidating more of the industry. Now, look, when it comes to Game Pass in general, it would be a good move for Microsoft. Ubisoft does have a lot of iconic franchises, but I do think that Ubisoft is in a down spiral trajectory. It doesn't mean that they're in a really bad place, like overall. I just think they're spending, more than they should be in terms of marketing, budgeting wise. They keep canceling stuff. I know they have that Splinter Cell stuff in development. I don't know if that would be one of the key factors. I personally feel like if Microsoft was going to be buying a publisher, 2K would make more sense. Sure, that would be drastically more money, and maybe they're not willing to spend that kind of revenue on anything in the matter when it comes to the gaming industry, because I think that would be a significant amount. GTA 6 in Game Pass, put in the comment section, if GTA 6 launched in Game Pass, how far you think that would go up? Being able to market GTA 6 would be extremely beneficial to them as well. Not to mention, you would get the Game Pass, you would get the marketing towards the hardware. Now, look, obviously, Xbox isn't really caring the most when it comes to selling the hardware, but I do think it's a priority, just not nearly as high on the priority list as I would appreciate them to be. Look, Ubisoft is a gigantic conglomerate. They have the Assassin's Creeds, they have the Dance Dance games. They've made a lot of good publishing deals. They got a lot of stuff, man, a lot of stuff. And I think Ubisoft, in terms of what it would bring to the actual demographic, is a lot, and keep in mind, they got these deals with with Marvel. They are making some Star Wars stuffs. They got a lot of stuff. People don't realize how much they essentially own in the industry. They had that Sleep franchise, the Tom Clancy franchise. They have the Assassin's Creed franchise. I'm pretty sure they own Rayman. I don't know. Someone in the comment section will probably correct me if they own Rayman or not. But they own a lot. But at the end of the day, does it make sense? Even though that Microsoft would get their hands on some of, not maybe the biggest, but some of the biggest things in the industry, does it make sense for them to make those kind of moves, knowing that they got Call of Duty, knowing that they got WoW, World of Warcraft, they got Overwatch, they got some of the biggest IPs in the industry. So is Assassin's Creed worth it? Is the Tom Clancy franchise worth it? It depends what kind of deal they got. Anything's worth it if you get a deal. You're able to pull that for half the market value. You could probably just make that money back and just licensing. Even if you don't want to make the games yourself, license it out. Make that money back that way. I personally don't want it to happen. I personally think that Ubisoft, in terms of consolidations in general, it's one thing buying Activision, Blizzard, King. Those are 3 publishers, and it's another thing buying Ubisoft, because then at this point it's like EA and some indie stuff. I personally feel like we need to stay away from the acquisitions in terms of Ubisoft. I think Assassin's Creed is a giant franchise for sure. Tom Clancy franchises, they're good too. I know the Division, they tend to do a lot of third-party stuff too, second-party deals, such as the Mario Rabbids. So it's like you can still license stuff out and make a good amount of money. And obviously, depending on the pricing of it, it might be worth it. It's just, to me, it's like right now, Xbox should focus on continually integrating the ABK and even Bethesda to a degree into their company more structured. Like I do think, there for a while Microsoft is having some quality issues. I don't think adding all of Ubisoft would benefit them at this current time. I think it would actually hurt them more than help them. And that's just my standpoint on the thing. If you're going to expand, and I've said this for a while, if Microsoft and Xbox expand more to bring more games into Game Pass, you got to do stuff that is more strategic, in my opinion. Assassin's Creed being in Game Pass would be big. But is that really something that they need? Because right now, you got to diversify your portfolio. You got to make sure you appeal to as many gamers as possible, because that is how you sell a service such as Game Pass to the masses. You got to appeal to as many of them as possible. You got to get, turn-based in there, your racing games, first-person shooters, action, puzzle games, indie games, your real-time strategies. You got to appeal to as many of those people as possible. And in my personal opinion, they don't need to appeal to those people that want Assassin's Creed, because a lot of those people that play Assassin's Creed and the Tom Clancy games, Rainbow Six Siege, they'll cross-stream into another genre that they already own, like Doom or something Bethesda makes or something, Call of Duty. You don't really necessarily need that. To me, you need to focus more on stuff that you don't have, stuff that you don't make at home, which is like, JRPGs or, I do think they don't necessarily have anything in the sports range. Now, I understand they have the Game Pass Ultimate with the EA Access or EA Play or whatever they call it. So they can go that direction and, maybe get more marketing rights for those games, for sports games in general, because I don't think they really have those, because MLB The Show's officially added Game Pass. Just to me, right now, Microsoft's biggest thing is that they need to strengthen what they currently have. Because clearly they might not focus on the hardware anymore, but they're still going to be in hardware. So you got to do stuff on what's best for you in terms of Game Pass, because that is what they've been screaming from the top of every rooftop, that Game Pass is the future of their company. And I think right now, focus on what's going to make Game Pass a better product. Now, obviously, in terms of like marketing, Ubisoft games, they're a good market. Assassin's Creed, Tom Clancy. There's a lot of stuff that Ubisoft has that you can market the hell out of. But is it really going to push the needle? I don't know. I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. But anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Tell me what you guys think. You think Ubisoft is the perfect company to be bought by Microsoft? Do you think they should buy them? Just because you think it might be a good fit doesn't mean necessarily that Xbox and Microsoft should be opening up their bank account and buying something like this. I know there's a huge push into stuff like AI. I know Microsoft is part of that. So maybe this isn't even on the table for them. I'm sure they have hundreds of, conferences a year talking about buying a variety of companies that never even get past the planning stage. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like we'll hear you out as far as, we buying you. I don't know about that. But, put in the comment section below what you guys feel about that. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content on here. I will be having a couple reviews up in the next week on this channel. Not necessarily knowing if I'm allowed to tell you what those reviews will be, but keep in mind. And then obviously I'm going to be reviewing some Xbox games next month as well. But anyway, I appreciate everyone coming through. In the description below, all this would be down there. Appreciate you guys, and you guys have a good one. Peace. Whew. It's going to be crazy, man. Follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict IOP and Addict Arena. I promise you I'm doing something on there. I promise you. I'm in the stages. I'm in the planning stages. Have a good one.